SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
When addiction takes control, getting help can change everything. Parkwood Behavioral Health System offers compassionate, evidence-based addiction treatment for adults right here in Mississippi. Take the first step today. Visit parkwoodbhs.com. Healing starts here. With limited exceptions, physicians are not employees or agents of this facility.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
Good Thursday morning and welcome in. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations, a dozen of those across the Magnolia State. From the northeast corner of the state in Corinth and going all the way to the southwest Mississippi at 102.1 FM on the Mississippi Gulf Coast at 103.1, 96.9 in the Delta, and all points in between. Thanks for joining us this morning. Today is the 11th of June, 2026. Mornings is presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. I'm Richard Cross alongside Lance Tolbert. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It'll be a nice day out there today, I hope, for everybody. It was good and hot yesterday.
I said, did you spend any time outside yesterday?
Oh, man, I about exhausted myself, dude. I did the yard work, as they say, and still have more to do, but yeah, I felt it walking into the building today. I'm like, man, my legs are jelly.
Yeah. Obi had a golf lesson yesterday, and went with him for that and was outside pretty much all day yesterday. And Brother Summer arrived. If yesterday wasn't the first day, it sure felt like it. Man, sweltering and humid. I will say this. If you had been inside in the air condition all day long, and then you walked outside last night at, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, it would have felt like the heat and humidity was just like taking a sledgehammer to your face. However, if you had been outside all day long in the heat and humidity, and you only, you kind of went back out around 7:30 or 8, sun starting to set, it was kind of nice out at that point.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about perspective.
We went and got a shrimp po' boy late yesterday afternoon, and it was nice, as you got into the cooler part of the day. But, man, it was scorching yesterday. I don't think it's going to look like maybe by the 14th may get some rain in North Mississippi, but it's going to be pretty high skies for a couple of days.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely is. C-Spire text line 601-879-4395. It was hot yesterday, but that beer was cold and tasted good on a Country Music Wednesday.
Yes. Thank you I hope I set it up right for you.
Got you out of the gate with the right foot forward.
Yes, sir.
Ripley, 92 today for your high. 73 the overnight low, mostly sunny. A few clouds mixed in along the way. Hot and humid with a low chance of isolated afternoon showers or thunderstorms. In Duncan, Mississippi. You familiar with Duncan?
I am not. I'm looking it up as we speak.
Right next door to Alligator?
Yeah. I know Alligator.
Yeah, I know you do.
Famous folks from over there.
Talking south of Clarksdale.
Yep.
93 for the high today in Duncan. 75 the overnight low. Sunny, warm, humid. Heat indices could make it feel over 100 degrees in spots, including right there in the lovely village of Duncan, Mississippi. Brookhaven, you've got 92 for your high today, 74 tonight for the overnight low. Partly cloudy with a chance of an isolated thunderstorm, especially this afternoon. It will be humid in Brookhaven. Same thing in Loosedale, southeastern part of the state. 91 degrees for your high today, 74 for the overnight low. Partly to mostly sunny, humid with some possible isolated showers and maybe even some thunderstorms popping up later in the day. Did you say this morning that Iowa overnight was dealing with tornado outbreak?
I did not.
Man,
it's that season,
you think
man.
about it is, and you get it, you understand. Golly, you wake up to tornado warnings. I know that feels like the one day part where normally it has settled in. It's like, yeah, you get them sometimes late in the afternoon. Sometimes you get them, it feels like all the time you get them overnight when it's darkest. But usually by the time the sunlight should be coming out to start a new day, it's like, okay, it settles down for a little while. Man, that'd be a tough way to wake up to your phone blowing up with a tornado siren at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, and when you see the pictures of the tornadoes in the Midwest too, they're ominous. I mean, they're like the huge. You see them from far.
It's like there are no
off.
trees for them to hide
there's
behind.
Exactly, it's so flat, and you're like, man, how far is that thing off? Looks like it's just right down the road, but I wouldn't want to come across one of those in the Midwest driving.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Jonathan in the Delta says, good morning. It was definitely hot cutting grass yesterday. And no question. No question.
The grass was screaming as you were cutting it.
Yeah. Peter Dinklage was born on this day in 1969, the actor renowned for his role as Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones. Won multiple Emmys there in films like The Station Agent and Serrano, known for his advocacy for dwarfism awareness. There is a time in our lives that would have been called midget awareness. Mm-hmm. Although a midget and a dwarf are not the same thing, right?
No, I had a dwarf as a Latin teacher in high school.
Did you?
Very, very little, sweet as she could be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she'd have to wear like 6-inch lifts just to kind of be normal height so she could, talk to you face to face while you were seated in a chair. So that was my first experience with a dwarf, and absolutely one of the coolest experiences to see as a young man. So it wasn't something that like threw you off. It was just normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Hugh Laurie, born in 1959, the British actor, comedian, and musician, iconic in his role as Dr. Gregory House in House, M.D., also starred in Black Ladder, The Night Manager, talented pianist and novelist as well.
Multifaceted.
I always do it. Oh, yeah.
Multifaceted.
Yeah. I never can say this name correctly. You want to give it a go?
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy man.
I always try to go Shia LaBeouf.
Right,
and I just knew that's not right, so we'll let you go with it there. American actor, rose to fame in Transformers, Indiana Jones, and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and also for Holes. Intense roles, no doubt.
Yeah, he's also like the recent when you got in the bar fight in New Orleans. Was it Mardi Gras last year? Punched a bunch of people, threw out some slurs, and he's avoided jail time, I think. But yeah, he's got to go through anger management. So I think Jack Nicholson's got a new client now.
Oh, the great Gene Wilder, born on this day in 1933, the actor, comedian, director, beloved for his role in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Young Frankenstein. He rode a blazing saddle. Blazing Saddles, his collaborations with Mel Brooks and Richard Pryor.
Hey, the guy that is on the bear, I don't. Why I've seen a few pictures. He looks like kind of like a young Gene Wilder,
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name, but the show The Bear about the restaurant.
Okay.
Kind of looks just like,
I'm not familiar.
like a young version. You're like, is that Gene Wilder's son?
Wow.
It's not, but
Talk about a movie that could not be made today, but one of the all-time comedies, and was not. There was no intent with the way that Blazing Saddles was made. It was just funny.
Well, yeah, Mel Brooks is just a funny guy.
I mean, people's feelings were not nearly as sensitive as they were, or are now, a generation or two ago. Jacques Cousteau, Born on this day in 1910, the French naval officer, explorer, filmmaker, and conservationist. He pioneered marine I cannot talk this morning.
You know you have some...
Hold on just a second. I guess, one more sip of
coffee. A double-handed.
He pioneered marine exploration with the Aqua Lung and documentaries like The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau.
The Aqua Lung. I love that word.
Vince Lombardi was born today in 1913, the legendary American football coach, a Hall of Famer who led the Green Bay Packers to multiple NFL championships. When they give the championship trophy to a team and it is called the Vince Lombardi Trophy, means you were kind of a big deal.
The guy.
The guy.
Yeah.
Another guy who was the guy, Joe Montana, four-time Super Bowl champion quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers.
Joe Cool. Love watching that guy play. He was my favorite growing up. I mean, I'd never missed watching Joe Montana play. And
we
Jerry.
got news, we got sports, we got a few things that happened on this day in history, and a whole lot more. Just getting started with you on this Thursday morning, the 11th of June, wherever you are and however you're listening. Good morning.
I might go down to Georgia. I might say,
good morning.
With Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the Super Talk app.
Blacktop down in the ditches, hitching a ride back to where I'm from, catching secondhand smoke or a Greyhound bus. Pretty or not, baby, here I come. I had high hopes, it was all downhill, life flying by like I was standing still.
What we got here?
What's that? You want Larkin Poe? Southern Comfort. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, good Mississippi band.
Yeah. Good to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, brought to you by Community Bank. Ever notice how some places still know your name? At Community Bank, that's how banking works. We're a bank that knows community because we live here. And when you walk in, you're more than an account number. No matter what your banking needs are here, you'll talk to real people who care about your goals. Community Bank, a local bank built on relationships. Stop by your neighborhood location or learn more at communitybank.net. Tough day in the city of Troy, historically. It was on this day in 1184 that the city of Troy was sacked and burned during the Trojan War, according to calculations by Eratosthenes.
Yeah, I like that.
Eratosthenes.
Yeah, those names are wordy, syllabally. Some tough ones back then.
Good morning, brothers. I listen just about every morning with my 1-hour drive to Camp Shelby. If you are Lance in the area, let me know. I can give you a quick tour of the base. Definitely bring kids.
Man, I'd love to go see that. It'd be really cool.
But hold on. I do have a question, though. Appreciate the message on the C-Spire text line. Is it possible to do a quick tour of Camp Shelby? Wouldn't that be a long tour?
Yeah, probably.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I had no idea until not too terribly long ago just how big Camp Shelby is. Land area that is larger than the entire city of Jackson.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
No.
I mean, I've passed it many, many times. I mean, it's like several gates, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never been, though. That'd be a fun one to see.
That would be good. That would be good. In 323 BC, Alexander the Great died in Babylon at the age of 32, leaving behind a vast empire that shaped the Hellenistic world.
Yeah, that was a rough landing there. There were people like committing suicide and, you know, shaving their heads and all this stuff after. But the story of him dying, you know, he basically got malaria. But the Chaldeans came out as he was going to invade Babylon and said, look, dude, you don't need to come in here. Our God has said that we love you. But if you come in here, it's going to be your end. And sure enough, he tried to do what they asked and go this route and that route, but in the end, the gods made sure that he did not live through the day. So the story of Alexander, though, is just wild, and all the things that go around the whole campaign. I mean, it's just craziness.
Yeah. Young fella.
Yeah, young guy.
Henry VIII in 1509 married his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. 1770, British explorer Captain James Cook ran aground on the Great Barrier Reef off of Australia.
Yeah, they put up a marker after that, I bet. Hey,
had to be looking around and be like, what did we just hit?
This thing goes on a ways, guys.
That thing did not move. The Continental Congress appointed the Committee of Five on this day in 1776. TJ, JA, and BF. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin, and they sat down and drafted what we call the Declaration of Independence.
I wonder how much coffee or coffee with bourbon was drank to put all that together. I think it's probably,
They might have had some tea.
A little hot tea. But, I mean, that is a brain trust right there, isn't it?
Oh, man. And they pounded it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Less than a month, they had a bunch of signatures on that bad boy. 1955, one of the worst motorsports disasters occurred at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in France when a car crashed into the crowd, killing over 80 spectators. Did you ever watch Ford versus Ferrari?
Oh, I love that movie.
Man,
I saw it twice in the theater. It was
great movie. 3 prisoners in 1962, Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin, made the only successful, we think, escape from Alcatraz.
Wasn't Frank the part that Eastwood plays in Escape from Alcatraz? Somebody has to correct me if I'm wrong. I think he plays Frank Morris.
1963. Less publicized, but significant nonetheless, Alabama Governor George Wallace stood in the schoolhouse door attempting to block desegregation at the University of Alabama. He was successful that morning, but not that afternoon. Later that day, 2 black students registered at Alabama.
Isn't that the speech where he said, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
1982, a landmark film, massive box office success. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Elliot. E.T. Extraterrestrial premiered in theaters on this day, June 11th, 1982. In 1919, Sir Barton won the Belmont Stakes, becoming the first horse to win the Triple Crown in the United States. And finally, it was 2010 when South Africa hosted the FIFA World Cup for the first time on the continent of Africa. The World Cup will begin in North America 1 week from today. News headlines for you this morning. Bond has been denied for the brothers accused of shooting and injuring a Covington County deputy. Cortavius and Cortavian Hobbs appeared in court yesterday. Both are charged with 2 counts of attempted capital murder and hindering prosecution. A judge denied bond for the capital murder charges, but set a $250,000 bond for the hindering prosecution charges. Cortavian Hobbs also got a $250,000 bond for felony fleeing. If bond is denied on one charge but set on another, then there is no bond. The defendant cannot be released. In this case, both Hobbs brothers will remain behind bars until future court proceedings. The brothers are accused of shooting Deputy Yates Rodney during an attempted traffic stop in Mount Olive on Monday afternoon. According to law enforcement, the deputy tried to pull over the SUV that they were in. The driver fled, leading authorities on a brief chase that ended at Greer's Cash Saver Grocery on Main Street. When the SUV was stopped, authorities say that the driver got out with his hands up while a passenger in the vehicle began shooting at deputies. Yates was reportedly struck in the chest area. He was transported to a local hospital, underwent surgery for what the sheriff's office described as life-threatening injuries, but it is believed that he is now in stable condition. After the shooting, the Mississippi Department of Public Safety issued a blue alert identifying one of the suspects. Officials also urged the public to be on the lookout for Zacharian Quintavis McGee. He later turned himself in and was cleared of charges. Around 9:20 on Monday night, there was another blue alert that was issued for 19-year-old Cortavian Hobbs, the brother of Cortavius. About 1:20 a.m., both had been found hiding under a house near the area of the shooting, taken into custody without further incident, according to Sean Tyndall. Multiple sources have told SuperTalk Mississippi that the brothers are related to Cordarius Hobbs, a 17-year-old that was arrested and charged in connection with killing an elderly couple and shooting a Simpson County Sheriff's deputy on June 3rd. Guys may not make the family reunion this summer.
Yeah, likely not, and probably a good thing.
Absolutely. Rain chances could increase across the South and Mississippi next week as forecasters are monitoring a potential area of tropical development. The National Hurricane Center is tracking a disturbance that could develop over the Bay of Campeche in the southwestern part of the Gulf later this week. According to forecasters, a broad area of low pressure is expected to form in the region, though environmental conditions are not favorable for significant development, this becoming a storm, or a major storm anyway. Even if no tropical systems form, moisture associated with the disturbance could be pulled north into the Gulf area in the southeastern United States next week. If that occurs, rain chances go up. The Atlantic hurricane season began on June 1st. It runs through November 30th. MDA announced yesterday that NPL Construction, a utility and energy infrastructure services company, is locating fabrication and manufacturing operations in Greenwood. I've had lots and lots of questions about economic development in the Delta. Here's one for you. According to MDA, NPL Construction provides infrastructure solutions to utility and energy clients with a focus on natural gas distribution and pipeline transmission. The company also operates fabrication facilities and assembles components including pipings, compressor stations, vaults, skids, and related infrastructure. VP of Pipeline Services Rabbit Ladner said that the state-of-the-art fabrication facility in Greenwood will create good-paying jobs while allowing the company to serve more customers and more industries. It's a $1.9 million corporate investment for NPL Construction, going to create 40 jobs. They're leasing a 70,000 square foot facility to support their fabrication and manufacturing activities. A couple more news headlines for you coming up after this. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Don't forget, you can connect with us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. We're back with you right after this.
Any girl in the world could have me, so they know me better.
From the
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Wash away my troubles, wash away my pain, with the rain and Shambhala. Wash away my sorrow, wash away my shame, with the rain and Shambhala.
Welcome back in. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Appreciate you starting your day, spending part of your morning with us. Thanks for those of you who just make MRC part of your morning routine. South Haven residents filed a class action lawsuit against billionaire Elon Musk's XAI and its subsidiary MZX Tech. That happened on Tuesday, so a couple of days ago in federal court over the company's use of mobile gas-powered turbines at its plant. In the filing, residents said they have been harmed by noise from the large-scale generators. They allege that residents have dealt with near-constant noise, vibrations, and other nuisance-level harms since the middle of last year, and it has hurt their quality of life and their property values. The lawsuit is the latest brought against the billionaire's artificial intelligence company. Earlier this year, the NAACP, represented by the Southern Environmental Law Center, brought a lawsuit against XAI over the lack of environmental permits. In Mississippi, temporary and or portable turbines are allowed to operate for 1 year without an air permit, but the SELC and the NAACP say that the lack of permits violates the federal Clean Air Act. The number of turbines has continued to increase despite complaints from local residents. The company built a sound barrier to try to mitigate the sound, but residents say that has done little to help. As of last month, there were 47 turbines on site, up from 18 a year ago. Initially, the company bought a vacant power plant in South Haven and set up natural gas turbines to fuel its data centers in Memphis. It has since announced that it was investing a total of $20 billion to build a data center in Mississippi. The lawsuit comes as SpaceX, which is XAI's parent company, is expected to go public tomorrow with an estimated $1.8 trillion valuation.
Noise is one of the worst pollutants, period. You know, if you live in a condensed area,
yeah.
I don't know if you deal with it as much there, but here in the central Mississippi area, I'll tell you, dude, people with the loud, pipes and motorcycles and all that stuff, it just continues. I can only imagine how much louder, 50 gas generators, turbines would be.
Yeah.
Man, some of this stuff is multi-layered, the issues that we're
Why don't
encountering.
they just get the Honda turbines?
I'm not sure.
The little Honda generators that are so quiet? They would just get Honda turbines. They probably would be good, I would think. They're a little more expensive, but, man, those things are quiet.
Yeah. That's one thing. Again, noise is so annoying when it's constant. Just when you want some peace and quiet sometimes.
In related news, there is a lawsuit that is going out. The defendants in the case are frogs and crickets.
Uh-oh.
You want to talk about noise pollution? Yeah. You ever walk outside at night and hear those guys?
I like those guys, though.
Ribbit. I think that I am not terribly invested in the NBA, the National Basketball Association, but I will fully recognize that this year's NBA Finals has been spectacular. Now, I would almost argue that the Finals didn't start until Game 3, even though the Knicks were up 2-0 after a pair of wins in San Antonio. Lance, did you watch last night?
I didn't watch it last night, but it was a ball game.
The New York Knicks completed the biggest comeback in NBA playoff history. They trailed by 29. I saw somebody post on X last night. Can you imagine, because this happened, somebody that paid $20,000 for a ticket for that game said, I'm not watching this. I'm out of here. They left and they missed the comeback.
And they were still mad at Trump.
The Knicks held the Spurs to 30 second-half points, and it was really incredible watching the postgame. Nobody wanted to leave Madison Square Garden, including all of the folks on Celebrity Row. They just hanging out. 20 minutes after the game, and Madison Square Garden was still half, maybe three-quarters full, and they rolled out every song that's ever been written about New York. Just, on a loop. And it was incredible. I did not watch the first half. I flipped it on with about 5 minutes or so to go in the third quarter. And it was a 19-point game. I was like, ooh, blowout. Mm. And then I saw a graphic that the Knicks at that point were on a 16-4 run. I was like, hold on a second, let me do some math here. So they're down 19. You add 12 to that. I guess it was a 16-6 run. I was like, they were down 29 in this game? Holy cow.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad on Monday night, but it was kind of a reverse of fortune there.
Yeah, it was.
Jumped out on them early.
It was really, really cool. What a scene last night in the world's most famous arena. Jalen Brunson led the way. He had 36 points. It was really, really cool. Series goes back to San Antonio. They're going to be logging some miles if this doesn't end in San Antonio on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the next game is Saturday the 13th. That should be a 7:30 p.m. ABC game.
Yeah,
ABC fake news.
There's a the format in the finals is 2-2-1-1-1. So the team with the home court advantage gets the first 2 games, then you go 2 on the road, and then you alternate for the final 3 games as necessary in the series. Knicks now up 3-1 after that come from behind 107-106 victory.
Yeah, 29 points. You're not missing many when a 29-point comeback comes around. No. You're nailing them, man.
It was really, really cool to watch. We got the announcement of more start times for college football games yesterday from ESPN. It was for all of the SEC. Now, not exact times, but windows, so you can at least begin planning. There are 4 options that ESPN rolled out. The early kickoffs, which are the new 11 Central to noon Central start time. And really, that's 2 different games. There's an 11 o'clock window on ABC, and then there's an 11:45 window on SEC Network. Occasionally, they'll put another game on ESPN at 11, but that's the window. The afternoon is the 2:30 to 3:30 Central Time start. The nighttime start window is 5 to 7 Central Time, and then they give themselves some wiggle room with the flex option. And that is either in the afternoon or the night time slot. So Ole Miss found out loosely its remaining games on the schedule. Their game against Florida in Gainesville on September 26th, either afternoon or evening. Same thing for Vanderbilt on October 10th. Home game against Missouri will be an afternoon kick. Their October 24th road game at Texas, flex, so either afternoon or evening. There will be an early kickoff on Halloween for Ole Miss and Auburn in Oxford. Probably some people not super excited about that. November 14th road game at Oklahoma will be an afternoon kickoff. I think we already knew that Ole Miss and Wofford on November 21st will kick off at 11 a.m.
The Terriers.
Mississippi State for sure has 2 night games that were added to the schedule. Home game against Missouri and a road game at Texas. 3 of the Bulldogs games will kick off in the early time window. Alabama at home, at LSU, and Auburn at home at Davis-Wade Stadium. And then 2 games remaining fall into the flex category, where they will either be an afternoon or an evening kick. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Exact start times are coming later. Patrick Mahomes is already rich, but he's about to be richer. Your morning sports update is brought to you by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com, your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Even if you go to Pearl River Resort and you strike it rich, don't know it'll be quite to the level of Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are adding 2 years to his contract in a reworked deal that ties him to Kansas City through 2033 at a total contract value of $504,750,000. The new money on the deal is worth $239 million. The total value now at that 504 number. The first 4 years are guaranteed. The average annual salary for Patrick Mahomes through 2033 is $64 million. Mahomes initially back in 2017 signed a rookie contract that was a 4-year, $16 million contract. They followed it up with a 10-year deal worth $450 million. And he has continued to grow that number. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for being with us. That is your morning sports update. We've got a lottery update for you as well right after this.
Good morning from the back.
From Sumner to Summit to Summerall, Richard has something for you. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Joining us, it is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Time for your Mississippi Lottery update, brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. We still have not had our first winner in the Millionaire for Life drawing. Last night's drawing numbers were 9, 20, 25, 31, 39 with a millionaire ball of 4. Still think that's a cool promotion. Lotto America continues to grow. After 130 consecutive drawings without a jackpot winner, tonight's prize up to $29,530,000, the third largest jackpot in Lotto America history. So nearly $30 million for the drawings that are held every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday night. Today is Thursday, so you don't have a Mega Millions or a Powerball drawing. Powerball coming up on Saturday night, $258 million in the jackpot. Mega Millions tomorrow night, $413 million in the jackpot. To stay up to date with everything that is happening with the Mississippi Lottery, find them online at mslottery.com or download the free Mississippi Lottery app. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Sometimes you make me laugh on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Sometimes you make me think. Occasionally you make me a little frustrated. Sometimes it's just fun. We got this message. This was at 6:48. Come on, Richard. You gave the Ole Miss time windows for football season, but not Mississippi State? I responded, I literally just gave you the time windows for every single added game on Mississippi State's schedule per the release yesterday. Were you sleeping? He or she responded, probably. It's early. And then followed it up and said, lots of early windows for State this year.
Ole Miss, too. There was several of the flex. They're like, You're kind of saying, like, well, they could be good. We might have them at night. Well, maybe not. Maybe need to have them at the early afternoon.
Yeah, I think most fans would say, yeah, I prefer a night game. There's no question that the atmosphere for night games is crazy good. But, man, that 2:30 Central time slot, which was the cat's meow for 30 years with the SEC on CBS, it's just moved to ABC. That's a great time.
I love 2:30 games. Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite
especially once
slot.
You get to October.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, I love having some of your day to get ready for it, and then some of your day is actually left after the game. So, I mean, it just seems to fit in perfectly. I haven't been to a game in Oxford in a while, so I don't know what the, parking and getting in and out of town, but the later it gets, the worse it gets from my recollection as far as travel,
Yeah. Yeah. We got good guests coming your way this morning. We will be joined by the State Insurance Commissioner, Mike Chaney, about 7:30 this morning. Congressman Michael Guest, who represents the 3rd District, will join us to begin the 8 o'clock hour. And to end the show today, we will check in with our correspondent in Omaha, Nebraska, Mike Azlin, who is a longtime SuperTalk listener. He's a math instructor at Ole Miss, and I think it would be fair to qualify him as a super fan, especially as it pertains to Ole Miss baseball. He's going to be inside Charles Schwab Field this morning, watching some of the practice sessions, and we're going to check in with Mike. That'll just be a fun conversation.
Yeah, he already sent me math homework when I checked in with him earlier. So
did he?
I'm already working, yeah.
Is it simple or complicated math?
No, it's advanced math, yeah. It's making me relearn, making me relearn stuff.
I got fingers and I got toes, and after that,
the calculator on the phone.
Gets a little dicey. Little dicey after that. Did you see that the professional tennis players want more money from the majors?
Oh, really?
Wimbledon, and they seem to have won. Wimbledon yesterday announced, I guess earlier today, announced a 20% increase in total prize money. And for the singles champions, if you win Wimbledon, men's or women's, you will earn £3.6 million, which is $4.8 million at the Grass Court Grand Slam next month. Total prize money for the tournament, £64.2 million. That's almost $86 million. Players have been calling for a greater share of revenue from the 4 Grand Slams and recently began taking steps toward collective action. Some players have suggested a boycott. Others have just spoken out and said, we'd really like more money. Well, they got it. They got it.
Well, those balls can't hit themselves, can they?
No.
I don't think so, at least. Not yet.
Just give AI some time.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Mornings with Richard Cross, 7 o'clock hour is on the way. The news is next, both from the SuperTalk Mississippi news team and national news from Fox. We're back with you after this.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Morning, partner. The sun is up, the coffee is on, and you're starting your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross, here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
O'clock hour. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. When it comes to money, trust isn't automatic. It's earned. That's why Community Bank does things the old-fashioned way. When you come to us, we take the time to listen to you and discuss any questions you have. Whether you're saving, spending, or planning ahead, you will find bankers who know the community because they're part of it. Community Bank, banking designed with you in mind. Visit us in person or online at communitybank.net. That is communitybank.net. The C-Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. And C-Spire reminds you about the One Plan. The C-Spire One Plan is here. Fiber home internet and wireless. Only $99 a month for new and current C-Spire customers. One plan, one price, one experience, zero compromise. You can save over $700 a year with 3 phone lines from C-Spire compared to AT&T. Plus, with 5-year price lock, you pay one rate with no surprises guaranteed. So don't wait. Get the One Plan today. Visit your local C-Spire store or shop online now at cspire.com/OnePlan.
I keep getting notices on my phone of all the apps that are about to quit working in July and late June.
Really?
Because my phone is from 2019. So,
is it really?
Yeah. So I keep getting
that's impressive.
Isn't it, man? I mean, not even a crack on it either.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're not like the tenderest guy I've ever met.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean, like, you do things with your hands. You get out in the woods, you hammer and nail and saw and run power tools and everything else. I can't believe that you've got a 7-year-old phone with no cracks in it.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a member of our camp yesterday, and I was on my phone, and we were talking about rebuilding a duck blind on the north end of our lake, which is really hard to get to. Okay. And I'm sitting there looking at my phone going, I've had this thing since 2019, and I never dropped it into the swamp. It was just kind of like a epiphany moment where, like, I know the next one is going to be like a $400 pair of sunglasses. As soon as I get it, I'm going to drop it and break it. Yeah, I can already tell you. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Get the insurance.
Probably a good idea. I go with Apple Care on kind of all the products that we get. But that wouldn't work for you because you're not an Apple guy. Yeah. Or at least haven't been.
I haven't.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe.
Possibly.
You never know.
Hey, we got some breaking news for you this morning. maybe that perks your ears up just a little bit. Not anything that is just earth-shattering, but significant here in Mississippi. Today is June 11th. I have in my possession a letter dated June 9th from the Secretary of State's office that is addressed to the leaders of the two legislative chambers in Mississippi, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann and Speaker of the House Jason White, regarding redistricting. The letter reads in part, "Dear Lieutenant Governor Hosemann and Speaker White, in light of the recent ruling by the United States Supreme Court in Louisiana versus Calais et al. And its direct impact on the existing legislative district maps, coupled with my statutory duty as Mississippi's Chief Elections Officer, I write to inform you that I have instructed my team to begin preparing the statewide elections management system, SIMS, for a reversion to the original 2022 legislative district maps adopted by the Mississippi legislature. As you may both be aware, no SIMS redistricting changes may be made while an election is in process. For the 2026 election, that means changes will be prohibited from 60 days before Election Day, which is November 3rd, until the election is certified in mid-December. Regarding the 2027 election calendar, SIMS redistricting changes will similarly be prohibited from early June through mid-December. Our staff estimates at least 1 month of preparation time is needed for circuit clerks to reinstall the 2022 legislative district maps and comply with all other statutorily imposed duties. Sincerely, Michael Watson, Mississippi Secretary of State. This is significant. What does it mean? Well, I think there are a few takeaways here. First of all, with the 2026 election cycle closing in quickly, if you do the math, November 3rd is Election Day. If it has to be done 60 days before Election Day, that rewinds you to October 3rd and then September 3rd. And if the circuit clerks across the state need an additional 30 days for preparations, that means give or take August 1st is when you would have to have that done. We are sitting here on the 11th of June. So if the legislative maps were to be changed in Mississippi for the 2026 election cycle, they better get on it post-haste. There's the time drawing the maps. There's the time vetting the maps. There's the time that will need to be spent making sure the maps will stand up to legal challenge, because that is without question on the way. There is the practical application of all the circuit clerk's offices getting ready. There's the matter of a special session having to be called by the governor, the legislature come in and voting those maps into place. If you fast forward in the timeline and you look to the 2027 elections, while yes, you have more time because you're talking June, so you back up, May, April, March, you still don't have a ton of time, but really, given the qualifying deadline of February 1st for 2027 potential office holders, this gets the ball rolling toward a special session this year. Based on everybody that I've talked to, many of them on the air with you, 2026 is pretty unlikely. Mississippi does not seem to be on pace to do any redistricting for the 2026 elections. But this letter to the Senate and the House in the legislature kind of gets the process moving a little bit. Now, the Secretary of State's office cannot force the legislature to take action. But this letter that was hand-delivered and sent digitally as well gets the process going. Operators of the state's election management system have been told this is what you're going to go to. You need to get these maps ready going back to 2022. Now, one thing, I think it was the lieutenant governor who said this when we visited. He's not necessarily interested in just reverting to the 2022 maps because those 2022 maps, at least in part, were also gerrymandered along racial lines when they were put into place. And he would like to see, I think it was the lieutenant governor that said that. If that's not accurate, my apologies, it would have been Speaker White or the governor. But I think it was the lieutenant governor who said, we need to go back to square one and draw these all. Now, keep in mind, these are legislative maps that we are talking about. And as I've said over and over and over, you've got three prongs to redistricting in Mississippi. You've got Supreme Court district maps, you've got legislative maps, which is what we're talking about here, and you have congressional maps. The congressional maps are the four districts: Trent Kelly, Benny Thompson, Michael Guest, Mike Ezell. Doesn't really apply to Senate elections because those are statewide. But then you've got the Supreme Court districts that also kind of brings into play commissioners, public service, elected officials, highway elected officials. And then you've got these legislative maps which affect Senate and House seats in Mississippi. So the Secretary of State has gotten the ball rolling in terms of a timeline and has laid out clearly how long it's going to take, what's got to be done. The ball now is kind of in both the governor and legislature's court. The governor's got to call a special session, and the legislature's got to be ready to go.
Good morning from the...
No matter where you're from, Abbeville, Batesville, DeIberville, or any other ville in the SIP, you're starting your day off right. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and Supertalk TV. Glad to have you along for the ride this morning. The 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. Again, that website, MWGEmployerServices.com. Well, the United States got after it with some Tomahawk missiles yesterday. Iran has been dragging along the negotiations for months now. We have been hearing we're close. There is what has been described over and over and over again as a fragile ceasefire agreement in place. President Trump finally, with maybe a little truth serum, saying it's the least effective ceasefire of all time, perhaps. I want to play a report for you from Trey Yingst. He is the chief foreign correspondent for Fox News. He has been in the Middle East for months and months now, covering this ongoing saga. An update from what happened yesterday kind of in the overnight hours and where we are headed.
Currently in the Situation Room with Vice President J.D. Vance, along with Special Envoys Kushner and Witkoff. The president giving new insight into what is taking place as we speak. There is an ongoing bombing campaign against the Iranian regime. The president tells Fox News that 49 Tomahawk missiles were used to hit targets inside of Iran, some of them as close as 40 miles from the Iranian capital of Tehran. The president said that U.S. fighter jets are also operating over the skies of Iran, taking out radar systems and air defense systems in the southwestern part of the country, close to the Persian Gulf. This is all taking place as the Iranians are trying to get the United States to stop the bombing campaign. President Trump told me that Iran called him tonight. Top Iranian officials and President Trump spoke directly, according to the commander-in-chief tonight, as the president was sitting in the Situation Room. And he told me that the Iranians asked them to stop bombing. And the president said to me, the bombing will stop shortly. I asked him what will happen if the Iranians do not sign an agreement that was put forward by American negotiators. President Trump said, quote, we'll bomb the S out of them tomorrow night. And so the president is leaving the military option on the table if the Iranians are unwilling to sign this good faith deal that would ultimately open the Strait of Hormuz and ensure that they cannot advance a nuclear program toward a nuclear bomb. That is the bottom line here that President Trump has reiterated over and over again. The reason Operation Epic Fury began was to prevent the Iranian regime from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Currently,
so that's what we've talked about over and over. What was the goal? What is the end game? You've got to eliminate the ability for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. 49 Tomahawk missiles with air support, planes, fighter jets over Iran, bombing strategic sites. That doesn't feel like a ceasefire. The interesting piece of the Iranians calling the president while in the Situation Room, while this bombing campaign was active last night, saying, please stop, is an interesting wrinkle. And when Trey Yingst says, quote, the president says, if they don't sign the agreement, we're going to bomb the S out of them. The S was a dirty word for poo-poo. Pete Hegseth was asked a question yesterday. How certain are you on our targeting ability to immediately find and finish off and execute every remaining leader within the Islamic Republic of Iran and the IRGC? Hegseth said, let's just say this command has used the ceasefire wisely and with great efficiency to ensure that we're refining our intelligence and target sets in a way that are far, far beyond even the beginning of Epic Fury. So when you see the commencement of Epic Fury, if a conflict were to have to recommence, our ability to target, our ability to sense, our ability to see, our ability to get into networks has been only vastly improved over time. At this point, can you help but ask the question of why do you want Iran to sign an agreement that says this is over? I mean, sure, you want them to agree that the war is over, but does signing on a piece of paper change anything materially about Iran? It doesn't feel like that signature would be worth the cost of the piece of paper that it is written on. You cannot trust them. You cannot believe them. You have fragments of leadership of different groups with different objectives. Apparently Trump says that he has spoken with both the hardliners and the more moderates, the people who are actually trying to do a deal with the United States. This feels like it was predictable and inevitable. And you don't have to look hard to find people that said that 2 months ago when the ceasefire agreement was first put in place, including right here. Lance, we talked about the fact that,
0% I gave it.
This seems tenuous at best. 0% was your number.
Yes,
no shot this sticks. We've had the small volleys back and forth between Iran and neighboring countries, Iran and the United States. I read one conspiracy theory yesterday that said, hey, the United States probably downed its own helicopter just for an excuse to start bombing again. I think that's some full-on tinfoil hat stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a good tinfoil one there.
It's like, we really were just looking for an excuse to get it bombing again, and so either we shot ourselves down or Israel shot us down. Look, the relationship with Israel might be strained right now. It is hard for me to see a scenario where Israel authorizes a strike against an American helicopter. Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. And I know there are people that believe that Bibi Netanyahu has got something on America, on Trump. Maybe he does. I don't think it's enough to overlook the downing of an American helicopter in the Persian Gulf area, the Strait of Hormuz area. So, where does it go? Does Iran sign something? Does it matter if Iran signs something? Or was the shooting down of an American military helicopter in the region enough for the United States to reopen the bombing and missile campaign? Don't think there would be a lot of global support for that, but what there is global support for is the end of this conflict. And then there's another thing that Donald Trump talked about last night, and I think we're still kind of gathering information because he just dropped this in as part of a White House briefing where he gave Democrats a campaign ad when he said, I love the inflation. Now, there was more to that statement, but context does not matter. When the President of the United States drops a statement like that, you know Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer et al. Will pounce on it, and they did. But as part of that talking point where he said, I love the inflation, he pointed to the fact that oil has dropped by $25 a barrel from $115 to $90. It's part of the reason that you have seen gas prices go down over the last couple of weeks. Got a message a little while ago. Somebody said 3.25 in Tupelo this morning. Pretty good. Progress anyway. But Trump said that we have been secretly exporting hundreds of millions of barrels of oil through the Strait of Hormuz for weeks now. And getting that oil into the market has allowed the market to go down. Yeah, Trump said this yesterday. Bubba sends us a message. During the ceasefire, we have secretly retrieved 84 million gallons of oil. That's why prices are down. Also, he said the Palestinian leader asked him to pause. There's no deal and won't be. He is going to finish the job very soon. Not sure about the Palestinian leader you're talking about there, Bubba, but or whoever that was.
I bet he meant Pakistan.
Maybe so. Mornings with Richard Cross. Mississippi Insurance Commissioner Mike Chaney will join us coming up next. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday morning.
From the Seabrook.
All right, now to the important stuff.
Your VIP pass to hear what the most influential Mississippians are talking about.
This is very important. Huge news.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Rolling on with you. It's Thursday morning, June 11th. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. And Mike Chaney joins me now. He is the Commissioner of Insurance here for the state of Mississippi and is also the state fire marshal. And Mr. Commissioner, good morning. Appreciate some of your time.
Morning, Richard.
I've got a really important...
background. You got all your sports memorabilia there. You going to watch the ball game today?
Tomorrow. But going to check out, Ole Miss and North Carolina absolutely on Friday. Looking forward to it. I was able to go to Omaha in 2022 a couple of times. I'm going to need the Rebels to win a couple of games and get to the second weekend if I'm going to make it back this year. It's quite the trip.
Yeah, I made Omaha when State was up there. That was great.
Yeah.
A lot of politicking and listened a lot about the state. Let's get to the program. So we can get off on the.
It's all good. I do have a really important question for you. When you're the state fire marshal, do you get a really cool fireman's hat or helmet?
Well, I don't wear one around. You know, some politicians wear hats around. I don't.
All right. I think we just set the tone for the morning. Here we go. Let's talk about this roof fortification program in the coastal counties. Legislature signed a bill that allocates the money to get the fortification of roofs, that project going. It's something that's been talked about for a while. How is this going to work?
Well, basically, we had a few hiccups, but we planned to begin July 1 with $2 million using the money out of the wind pool. We'll mitigate and run between July 1 and January 1st, approximately 200 homes that we'll mitigate the roof on. And what we do is a roof, basically you replace the roof that's there if it's in bad shape, and you make it where it's stronger, it's better than the roof you had on the house. You tie the sheet decking down, you make it with a membrane that goes over the roof that keeps water from penetrating the roof and running the sheetrock in the house. Basically, what you're doing is fortifying the home so you have a home to come back to. You're reducing the risk to the insurance companies, and you're providing a home for the consumer to come back to. And by the way, all of these mitigation projects that we're talking about, they're $10,000 grants. The house has to be in fairly decent repair. We will not do the mitigation. We don't pay the contractors unless the job passes inspection. So we're trying to cut out all the fraud. That's the reason we want to administer the program.
So if
I want to insurance rate, Richie.
Well, so I want to get to that in a second, but in terms of the application process here, if I own a home that's eligible and I'm one of these first 200 or so in the batch, do I have to pay to replace the roof myself and then get reimbursed for that? Am I out of pocket initially?
No, you do not. The consumer will never get any money from out of the grant. It goes straight to the contractor that does the work. The consumer gets to pick from a list of 6 or 7 contractors that are approved, that have been, actually they have to have insurance, all the requirements that you got to have. You don't have any fly-by-nights driving in from another state saying, I can fix your roof today and other guys can't get to it for months and it's going to rain tomorrow. We don't have that. We have a list of approved contractors. The consumer or the policyholder picks the one they want to use, and the guy gives them an estimate of what it will cost. If it's more than $10,000, the consumer has to put up some of the money. Usually a roof is somewhere between $12,000 to $15,000 for larger homes, about $10,000 for a 1,500 square foot house. But the consumer never gets any money. The money goes straight to the contractor, and they don't get paid if they don't do the work correctly. And they have to have a standard. It's called the IBHS, and that's a code. By the way, the coast does have code requirements, but this is a code that has a stronger roof, ties the roof down to the sill plates on the house to the floor foundation. It's just a stronger home is what it does.
As part of the roof conversation, though not specific to this, we got a message on the C Spire text line a little while ago asking about something that a lot of insurance companies seem to be going to with roof replacement, and that's going to ACV, actual cash value. Is the replacement cost of the roof less depreciation? Traditionally, if I have hail damage, wind damage, storm damage to my roof, I file a claim, I pay my deductible, and my insurance company pays for the new roof to go on the house, whether it costs $10,000 like you were saying a second ago, or it's a $30,000 roof. It seems more and more insurance companies are going to this actual cash value, factoring in depreciation. The question from the texter was, yeah, but my premium is not going down any. Why is the coverage changing?
So that's a good question. What we do see is most companies are saying we may not even insure a roof that's over 15 years of age, but we have to work with the companies, and we have folks in the office that do that. Andy Case and Ryan and David handle a lot of those complaints. I tend to be a little short with the insurance companies about, by God, you're taking a premium from the consumer, you need to do your work, pay your claim. But if they give an actual cash value, they're supposed to have a premium reduction. If you want a replacement cost, what we call RCV, replacement cost value, you have to pay a little more premium. But we're encouraging folks to look at doing savings accounts and taking ACA because it's cheaper and you make more money. As a consumer, you say, not make more, you save more money as a consumer. So it's a valid question. When you don't get the discount, you ought to call us or talk to your agent. That's what we tell people to do. Your agent is your first line of defense when you're dealing with an insurance company. We tell you to shop around because not all companies require to write you at actual cash value, as we call it. But you should get a premium reduction. That sounds convoluted, but that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. There's a story that's been in the news in recent weeks. It's actually been going on for a while in Laurel. With this old historic hotel that was renovated, the Hometown Crew, which has been a wildly successful television program. They did a renovation project in partnership with a local business person, and as I understand it, their insurance provider has refused to pay a claim for a fire that damaged that hotel, that historic property that they've renovated. Do you have any update on that story or where that's going or why it has been handled the way it has been handled?
Well, let me go backwards here. As late yesterday, we were informed by the attorney for the HGTV program that the settlement was done. And the second part is that our department was not contacted until May the 28th, and we were contacted, and we had not been asked for help. I actually know most of the players in this thing, but social media got out of step and said that there's no money had been paid out, and there had been money paid out. I don't want to get into the particulars. Some of it's confidential, but let's just say they were paid more than the policy value. That may be subject to some of it may be what we call a subrogation, and that would be a few $100,000. But from our understanding, you got to remember now, Richard, we only got involved on the 28th of May, and our job is not to adjudicate claims. That's in the policy. It's a contract between the consumer and the policyholder and the insured company. So you live off that contract.
Right.
In this case, they hired a lawyer the first day out of the chute, and when they do that, normally we will not get involved, but they never asked us to get involved until the 28th of May. And these are good people. I think there were a lot of social media things that were put out that just were not true, and I just can't answer all of them.
I understand.
I got one from Nebraska said, "Shame on you for being such a sorry commissioner." I said, "Well."
Shame on me, I suppose. You say social media maybe got out in step, and we know that a lot of times there's misinformation that comes out, but it's interesting to me that this becomes very public through social media just in the last few weeks on something that's been going on for a while, and all of a sudden the policy is paid and everybody's good to go.
Well, here's the thing that the social media didn't put out. About 80% of the policy had already been paid out a good while back. I think the issue became the contents of the building, and there are a lot of other issues, and I'd say maybe 25% of the money that was held back, and that's what the issue was about.
Okay.
I wish I could give you more details, but we own something that may end up being nationwide. So I'll just say that we work with all the people involved. Liberty Mutual is a good company. They're an A-rated company, and I'm sorry they're taking it on the chin, but my job is not to defend them. My job is to protect the consumer, make sure that Liberty Mutual and all the other companies are solid.
Mike Chaney is the commissioner of the Mississippi Insurance Department. He's also the state fire marshal. You hang with me through the break and talk a little bit about flood insurance on the backside?
Can do.
That sounds good. We will take a timeout. We're back with the State Fire Marshal and Insurance Department Commissioner. Do you have a fireman's helmet, though? I mean, even if you don't wear it, do you actually have one?
I'm going to put it on in here. I do have one. They're giving some of that fire stuff to Liz Welch at the Department of Finance and Administration because I wouldn't give trucks to people unless they actually needed one. I don't give a truck out on the grad program just for a parade. You just don't do that. So we gave Liz a fire hat, and I don't know if she's going to speak to me anytime soon.
We're back with Mike Chaney right after this. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good morning from the
Wake up, get up, and start your day right with Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Where I was going, now this shady dirt road is feeling cool.
Mississippi Insurance Commissioner Mike Chaney is my guest. Mr. Commissioner, I'm going to read you a text message verbatim as it came in from Joey the Trucker. See what your response is to this. Well, I hope Mr. Chaney can help us with this high-priced damn insurance. You know, when you're retired and grow Social Security and pay nearly $400 to $500 a month for a supplemental insurance, a damn man can hardly make it.
I agree with the guy 100%, and that's he's talking about automobile insurance, I'm sure, along with all the other insurance problems that we have. And let me address that, see if I can do it quick, Richard. Health insurance premiums are over $1,000. People have to make a decision about, do I pay my electrical bill or keep my health insurance? Because if I drop my health insurance, I lose my drug coverage. I have to have a life-saving drug, say you're diabetic. I'll pay my home insurance, and if I don't pay my home insurance and I have a fire or a hailstorm, I'll lose my roof. So it gets very complicated. One of the goals to try to reduce those rates, not only in the health arena, but across the board for homeowners, is the mitigation program. It reduces your cost of your home insurance by as much as 20 to 30%. That's a proven fact in Alabama. Alabama has almost 60,000 homes that have gone through the mitigation program in the lower two counties in Baldwin and Mobile County, and they're expanding their program statewide like we have. Our legislation gives us statewide, but it's proven that you'll have a reduction there. On automobile insurance, I had a conversation with both chairmen of the House Insurance Committee and the Senate Insurance Committee about addressing the automobile insurance issues in the state of Mississippi. We could reduce the rates 40% if we could just get a handle on the uninsured motorists. Probably 30% of the people on the road, if not 35%, uninsured. And what that does for the guy that just texted in, it increases his premium and his rates. So how do you address the problem? It requires a lot of cooperation, not just with the insurance companies, but with the legislature, so that we have the laws to rein in the high prices of premium and automobile insurance.
So with that mitigation program, you talk about reducing premiums 20 to 30%. That's only for the people who go through the mitigation process, right? I mean, that doesn't do anything for me in North Mississippi.
Well, it doesn't unless you have mitigation in North Mississippi. We will do some mitigation in North Mississippi. That's some of your representatives up in Lafayette County helped get that into the bill, which is good. Like the hailstorms that you have. We have a lot of hailstorms in the northern part of the state. Those routes qualify under certain circumstances for mitigation. So that does reduce rates. But here's what happens. When you reduce the risk, whether it's in the Gulf Coast or statewide, for the insurance companies, you reduce the premiums that they have to charge. You with me so far?
Sure.
Especially on the wind side. And if wind constitutes 80% of your premium base on the Gulf Coast for insurance premiums on a home, you've got a big reduction in your homeowner insurance rates on the coast. When those go down, the risk pool is spread across the state. It reduces the need for premium base. So it's all relative to the risk that you're covering. A lot of the factors that we have to face with, and to the text guy, are due to inflation, things that we cannot control, or replacement costs on homes. And that's been a real issue for us, where you may have a home, say in Oxford, that cost you $100,000 10 years ago. That same home today is what, $350,000? and you're going to have to insure it to the $350,000 level with most companies. So we have been working with the companies to try to come back and have what we call actual cash value, similar to what we talked about earlier on roofs, or that homeowner that would get a reduced premium. That's what we're doing. So for the guy that texts, I appreciate that text because we face that every day of the week. Yeah. We have a complaint about the insurance.
Mike Chaney, only about a minute left. Where are we on flood insurance? It's a never-ending conversation. It's a never-ending battle.
Well, the National Flood Insurance Program has been renewed temporarily by the federal government. They're the only game in town for most states, but in Mississippi we do have private insurance. We have about 55,000 policies in the state, and it varies. But take Louisiana, they got 350,000. Florida's got over 500,000. But flood insurance is needed. It should be cheaper than what it is. I'll be at a meeting in 2 weeks with the national, all the other commissioners, and we're discussing that issue of flood. It's a big problem for us, Richard. And you got flood problems in Alcorn County, as an example. Absolutely. You have some flood problems in Lafayette County and Hinds County and Madison County. And people don't buy flood insurance because it's too dadgum expensive with the federal government.
Yeah.
If I got a minute, I'll just say that I had a legislator whose flood policy got canceled. He was paying out $800 a month. It went to $9,000 a year with the federal government. He said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Don't pay the federal government. Go buy private insurance." And we got him covered. But that's typical of what we run into.
Mike Chaney, insurance commissioner here in Mississippi, also the state fire marshal. My hope is the next time we visit, he will be wearing that fireman's helmet when we talk. I'm not going to hold my breath, but maybe.
It's over here on the other side of the desk. Thank you, Richard.
I mean, you could have picked it up during the break and at least brought it back for the second segment.
It's red. It clashes with my shirt.
Mike Chaney, he's one of a kind. We're back with you after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
You're waking up to what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross. Right now on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Back with you, Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. Bank local, bank community. Glad to have you along for the ride this morning, and pleased to welcome in my next guest, the Congressman from the 3rd District of the state of Mississippi, Michael Guest, joining us from our nation's capital this morning. Mr. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning, Richard. Great to talk to you, particularly in light of the Republicans' big win on the diamond last night. Most people probably don't follow congressional baseball, but the Republicans won last night for the 6th year in a row, defeating the Democrats 11-2, and more importantly, raising $3 million for charity. So a charity baseball game they hold every year. They've done it since 1909. Republicans are on a winning streak. We hope to continue that next year. If Mark Teixeira is elected from the great state of Texas, we would love to have a former MLB All-Star playing on the diamond for the Republicans. But great night last night to be able to come together to raise money for a good cause, and that $3 million will be distributed among various charities across our nation's capital.
I'm assuming the Republicans' uniforms were red, white, and blue, and that Democrats were not?
We were mainly red, generally red versus blue. But we had the American flag, USA, on the jerseys. So very patriotic jerseys to show our support for the entire country.
I will admit to you that had flown under the radar with me. I'm thankful that it did not get as much coverage as it did a few years ago when Congressman Scalise was shot during that. Certainly a scary time. What position did you play?
You know, I was watching from the stands. I figured it was with my athletic talent or lack thereof, it was probably be better for me to be in the stands rooting on my fellow Republicans.
Who is the best baseball player currently in the Republican caucus, absent Mark Teixeira joining the group a year from now?
I would say August Pfluger is from the great state of Texas, former Air Force grad. He and Greg Stubbe from Florida, I would say they're 1A, 1B. So both of them have a pretty good bit of athletic skills still left and some aging bodies, but both of them played well. And so, again, a good night for charity. I know most people were probably watching the Knicks and Spurs last night. They weren't tuned in to congressional baseball, but a couple of good sporting events that were taking place across the country last night.
I don't know if that's televised or not. I'd love to get on the announcing gig for that, though. That'd be fun.
Well, Chad Pergram from Fox News actually does some of the announcing for that, so he's able to throw in some political commentary with that. But look, we'd love to get you up. So I know you love sports, you love politics, a combination of both. So I'm going to talk to SuperTalk and see if next year y'all can't come up and you can be broadcasting live from that stadium.
We could see about securing the radio rights for the congressional baseball game. I like that. Congressman Michael Guest is my guest. I talked with Mike Ezell a few weeks ago, and I said, outside looking in, there is some frustration with this Congress and with Republicans even, because it feels like nothing is getting done. Can you tell me if it's any different? And he said, no, I really can't. He said, it feels to us like nothing's getting done a lot of the time. Is that changing at all kind of post-early summer recess?
I think there's always a frustration, Richard, that things aren't being done quick enough, that we're not moving fast enough. But look, things are being done. If you look at what we've done this Congress, and when I say done, I can only talk about what's happening in the House. When things get to the Senate, their rules are different, their procedures are different. It often takes things much longer for legislation that comes out of the House to get to the Senate. But we've passed things that are important to the American public. We've passed the Save America Act. We have sent that to the Senate. We passed the Farm Bill, extremely important to Mississippi. If you look at agriculture is our number one industry in Mississippi, directly or indirectly employs over 20% of our state's population. We were able to get a farm bill passed out of the House. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. We have been able to, out of committee, pass 11 of 12 appropriations bills. The final appropriations bill that must come out of committee will come out of committee after we get back next week. But we've passed 11, and the Senate has passed none. And so if you look at that, we've also had the markup for the National Defense Authorization Act, another key piece of legislation that we have to pass every year to fund our military. And so we are working. We're working extremely hard. I'll tell you, Richard, this week I had a markup 2 nights ago where I did not get out of the markup until 1:30 a.m. And then last night we had to go back to markup after the congressional baseball game. And I was 12:45 walking out of markup. And that's 12:45 a.m. Just want to make sure that listeners understand when I'm talking about walking out at 1:30 or 12:45, that's 1:30 a.m. and not p.m. And so, look, we are working. We're working extremely hard. We're working against opposition. Look, the Democrats are not making it easy on Republicans. And with a 3-seat majority, they are going to do everything they can to try to torpedo the agenda of the president and the Republican agenda. So a lot of times we have to work twice as hard to overcome the opposition that we face each and every day.
Significant news earlier this week: the funding bill for ICE and Border Patrol, Homeland Security gets to the president's desk. He signs that yesterday. There were some question marks, and there were some speed bumps and hurdles at the end, particularly around the added security features to the ballroom and this defense fund that the president talked about. How hard was it to set those aside to get the important funding piece to the finish line?
The bill was negotiated in the Senate. So those negotiations were happening in the Senate between the administration, Senate Republicans, and Senate Democrats. We used the reconciliation process, which allows us to then get around the filibuster in the Senate. Their rules generally on most pieces of legislation require a 60-vote majority to begin and to close debate. And so by using the reconciliation process, we were able to narrow that vote count to 50. The Senate was able to work out those differences. That some of that funding came out, and others there were agreements by the White House not to go forward with some of the additional requests that they had originally made. Look, but that was important, and it was important because we've seen the Democrats really do all that they can to impede federal law enforcement and our first responders. We had the longest complete government shutdown in government history last fall, where the government as a whole was closed for 43 days. Then at the end of the year, we were able to reach an agreement to pass 11 of the 12 funding bills. The bill we could not reach agreement on was Homeland Security. Later, there was an agreement to come back and to fund Homeland Security except CBP and ICE. And so what this bill did is this was advanced funding for CBP and ICE through FY 2029. So this takes away the Democrats' ability to use that to try to force concessions from the Republicans going forward. And look, this is important because, look, we've got FIFA World Cup, which begins this week. We've got America 250. We've got the Olympics, which will be held in 2028. We've got so much that we are looking at, these special events that don't happen every day. It's important that we be fully staffed. And so while it was difficult, again, to get that bill across the finish line, it was the right thing to do, and the American public is going to be much safer because we have now fully funded CBP and ICE, again, through 2029. So we don't have to worry about this coming back being a recurring fight with the Democrats, them trying to use this to force concessions from the White House.
We've got a break coming up in just a moment. You got time to hang with us for a few more minutes?
Would love to.
All right. But before we do that, I really want to set this up because I feel like it may take you a little longer to answer. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, the job that he has, I feel like, at least outside looking in, is Herculean. A tiny majority, and it feels like on every single vote that comes along, he's having to thread the needle and in some case placate people within his own party to get them to vote, make deals constantly. Can you maybe just give me 30 seconds and we can pick it up on the other side of the break about the job that he's doing and maybe the way that he's doing his job?
Yeah, and you framed it up extremely well. He has a very difficult job with a very narrow majority, 3-seat majority right now. Look, I'll tell everybody, I think Mike Johnson has the worst job in not only Washington, but in all of America. And you are exactly right. He has to deal with very difficult issues, very narrow majority. He has to deal with people who are in extremely conservative districts. He has to deal with other members who are in districts that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris carried last election cycle. So he has his work cut out for him. But happy to expound more after the break.
That sounds great. Michael Guest, Congressman representing the 3rd District here in Mississippi, is my guest. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. We're back with you after this.
From the
Waking up Mississippi. From South Haven to Scuba, it's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, we're moving on now, to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Congressman, we got to have you on a Wednesday at some point. Wednesday is our country and western day, and that seems to be the most popular bump music day. But when Lance rolls out something like the Jeffersons, it's not all bad on any day.
No, man, going old school with the Jeffersons. So
I like that.
Moving on up, yeah.
Michael Guest is my guest this morning. He is one of our congressmen, part of the Mississippi delegation, represents the 3rd District. We were talking about the speaker, Mike Johnson, before the break, and one of the things that I was thinking about was the position of whip, especially majority whip, is one that has been glamorized a bit through the years, television shows, whether you're talking about House of Cards or West Wing or any of the other political shows that have come along. I know it's a position that still exists. Is it a position that still has the ability to operate the way traditionally it has? And does Mike Johnson have a whip that he can rely on?
He does. Tom Emmer is whip of the Republican conference. Tom does a great job. He has a deputy whip, Guy Rushenthaler from Pennsylvania. And so, really their job is not to force people to vote one way or the other. Their job is to gather the information as where members are on certain pieces of legislation and then pass that up to the leader and the speaker. And so each week we are generally whipped on one major piece of legislation. This week it was on the reconciliation bill to fund CBP and ICE. And members have a chance then to weigh in at where they are on that legislation. If there are issues with the legislation, that is an opportunity to bring that up to leadership so that they can find a path forward. But ultimately, the floor action is not controlled by the whip. It's controlled by the speaker and the leader. So Steve Scalise, Mike Johnson, two of our Louisiana neighbors, they're the ones that are making those decisions. But a lot of times they're basing it on the information that they get from the whip. And so it is still an important position, and particularly in a narrow majority. You look at a 3-seat majority and a body of 435. It's important for leadership to know on these key votes where every member stands, because, look, all it takes are one or two Republican members to decide that there's something in the bill they don't like. If they vote with the Democrats, then we're not able to get that piece of legislation across the floor. And we see, look, sometimes votes have been held open for extended period of time. Most votes are 5-minute votes, but we've had votes that have been held open for well in excess of an hour as leadership is trying to work, as they're trying to massage the members to get their support for key pieces of legislation. Again, particularly things that the president is pushing for.
What about FISA? I know that's something that people are talking about. The president has asked at least for a temporary extension of FISA laws to be in place. You mentioned a moment ago the World Cup. We have a lot of international visitors that are either here or on their way for World Cup matches over the next few weeks. We hope those are all well-intended people that just want to wear the jersey of their favorite team and be in stadiums and cheering. But we also know that the bad guys are looking for any opportunity that exists. Where is that?
So just to kind of give a little background on FISA for those that may not be aware, FISA stands for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, put in place after the attacks on 9/11. It allows our intelligence services to gather information against non-American citizens who are not located physically within the United States. And so there are some guardrails to protect American citizens from being targeted and to protect individuals who are visiting the country once they enter the country from having their data collected. It is a data collection in which we are able to, and I say we as a country, are able to collect crucial information as it relates to telecommunication records, bank records, other records that help us hopefully be able to see a bigger picture that may be developing. FISA has to be renewed, reauthorized. We are currently seeing that FISA will go dark at midnight tomorrow night. So if Congress doesn't act, the House and Senate does not do something, then FISA goes dark and we lose that very critical intelligence gathering mechanism that are relied upon by our intelligence services, a lot of 3-letter agencies, as well as by federal law enforcement. The House will be voting today for a temporary extension of FISA. We are voting under what's known as a suspension, which means it requires 2/3 of the members to be to support that legislation for it to pass. The Democrats have said publicly that they will not support an extension of FISA. They are upset about the president's appointment as his director of national intelligence, a guy by the name of Bill Poultry. is the individual that the president has tapped. The Democrats don't like that, and so they are threatening to let FISA go dark unless the president changes who he wishes to head that agency. So we're looking at what could be a very hopefully not, but could be a situation to where we don't have the intelligence that we need as we have these crucial events coming forward. FIFA World Cup and America 250. Now is not the time that we want to lose that intelligence gathering mechanism. So we've got to find a way, like we have on so many of these other bills, to thread that needle, Richard, to get Republicans and Democrats on board for the good of the country.
Am I a conspiracy theorist if I think the CIA and the NSA and other three-letter agencies, as you referred to them, will figure out a way to work around this regardless of what happens?
There have been talks that the president may issue an executive order that would allow them to continue to collect that information. That is something that is being discussed at the White House. But it really needs to be something that Congress approves legislatively. It provides not only those agencies the authority, but it also provides these telecommunications and other groups that are complying with those three letters agencies, the protection from liability. And so, that's one of the concerns is, take a big telecommunications company like AT&T. Law expires. FISA goes dark. They basically tell them we're no longer complying. We're not going to give that information for fear of lawsuits coming down the road. And so that's why it is important, one, to give them the authority, but two, the liability protection from those agencies that will be cooperating with the government.
Is the resurfacing and the repair of the reflecting pool the most overblown story in recent history in D.C., or is there a reason that we should be up in arms about that?
No, look, the reflection pool was repaired under President Obama. It was repaired again under President Trump. Look, we were able to repair it at a lesser cost under Trump than we were under Obama. But look, we've got a lot of bigger issues to focus on. There's a lot of things going on across the country, a lot of things going on across the globe. And for that to be, something that we see talked about regularly on the national news, I think is extremely overblown. So let me bring up one thing, Richard, just because I want to make sure. So last week when I was here, myself and my team, we got to go visit some of our National Guardsmen from the 204 Air Defense Artillery Regiment. They are based in D.C. They have been here for roughly 11 months, and they are protecting the skies over Washington, D.C. And so about once every 4 years, these National Guardsmen, they fall into this very important mission. And so we had a chance to go by to thank them for their service, to thank them for how they are representing our country. But I think it is such an incredible story that Mississippi National Guard, that we have individuals that every 4 years come to Washington, D.C. They protect the skies of Washington to see that we don't have another 9/11 type event. In addition to those guardsmen, we have guardsmen who are up here who are providing security protection, police protection, particularly in the days leading up to America 250. So I think that's something that we should be proud of, something that back home we should be talking about more. That we have these young men, these young women who have joined first the military, who are willing to serve, and that they are so trusted by the military that they are allowed to perform some of the most critical missions that the military performs day in and day out. And so we wanted to go and just say thank you to those guardsmen. One of the things that we try to do when those guardsmen are here is we try to find a night where we can get as many of those guardsmen as possible to come to the U.S. Capitol, give them a tour of the Capitol, personally thank them. If you think about it, a lot of those young men and women, they've never been to Washington before. This is their first time in D.C. And so not only are they here performing a great service for us and for the country. But we want to make sure that that is a very memorable experience and that we thank them for all that they do.
Glad you mentioned that. That was the last thing I was going to bring up, so we were on the same wavelength there. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Appreciate your time. It's always too short, but great to catch up with you this morning. And if we don't talk again, happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to you and your family and to all the great folks across Mississippi. Thank you, Congressman.
From the want to know what's happening in Mississippi politics? Yes. You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good being with you. It is Thursday, June 11th. Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. The C Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. The One plan from C Spire is here. Fiber, home, internet, and wireless. $99 a month for new and current C Spire customers. One plan. One price, one experience, no compromises. You can save over $700 a year with 3 phone lines from C Spire compared to AT&T. Plus, with 5-year price lock, you pay one rate with no surprises. And that's just the start. The One plan from C Spire also gives you free 5G phones for each line, a free home Wi-Fi device, free mobile hotspot, and free fiber installation with an exact appointment time that you choose. Even better, priority customer service from your local C Spire Blue Shoe crew. Highly trained and here to ensure that you get the best fiber and wireless experience from day one. So don't wait. Get the One plan today. Visit your local C Spire store or shop online now at cspire.com/oneplan. C Spire, customer inspired. Thomas was, as we were talking about FISA with Congressman Guest, jumped in and said he's pro-surveillance and anti-constitutional rights. I thought Republicans were pro-Constitution. Why does Representative Guest, Congressman Guest, hate my constitutional rights? And I asked him, I was like, so you're concerned about FISA being used to spy on American citizens? And he says that's what they use it for. It's a blanket warrant to collect all your data, catalog, and store it. Now they can use AI to go through it as well, probably why they need all the data centers. I mean, FISA itself was designed to collect information about foreigners, not Americans. I suppose it would be naive to think that it hasn't been used on American citizens along the way. Certainly that is a violation of the law. I do not think that Congressman Guest, I'm putting words in his mouth, so maybe I should have given him the opportunity to say this himself. I do not think that Congressman Guest was advocating for the government to have the right to spy on American citizens. But do we not want and need the ability to keep tabs on foreign nationals who are in the United States or outside the United States? And I ask him, and I mean, you probably read between the lines here, do we really think that the CIA and the NSA are just going to stop if FISA is not extended? I'm all for following the laws, but that is hard for me to believe. And gosh, I mean, maybe I need to think about this before I say it. I think I would be fairly disappointed in our national security apparatus if we just stopped surveilling foreign nationals while they were in the United States, especially with the number of people that are going to be coming in during the World Cup over the next few weeks. Am I off base on that, Lance?
I mean, no, it's a matter of as long as they're surveilling the ones they're supposed to be surveilling, right?
Yeah. Thomas in Greenwood says, so let it expire and simply get a warrant. If they want to spy on someone, the companies will stop providing the data if they don't have immunity from lawsuits. Well, you're making the assumption that we don't have access to the data without the companies giving it.
Yeah, I think there's a
I'm not sure that I buy that. Maybe it's legal protection more than anything else. I don't know. Trump Truth Social from just a bit ago. It sounds as if more attacks on Iran are imminent. Let's see if I've got this. I had it pulled up a second ago. And here it is. I'll actually let you hear from the president himself. He was on Fox and Friends just a little while ago. Here it is.
There will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger, more powerful. Don't forget, we've knocked out all of their anti-aircraft. They don't have any they have nothing. I mean, they may get lucky with a shoulder weapon or something, but for the most part, they have no defense.
What did the representative say in your phone call with them?
Excuse me. They're finished. But the papers, the media refuses to write it. They're finished. We can walk in there tomorrow. We could take soldiers. I don't want to have boots on the ground, but if I wanted to, we could put a small group of soldiers and take over the whole place. They're finished. And the media is crooked. They're just like our elections. The media is crooked.
Mr. President.
It's Donald Trump on with Fox and Friends about half an hour ago. Quote, part of that interview, there will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger, more powerful. They're finished. The media refuses to write it. We can walk in there tomorrow. We could take soldiers. I don't want boots on the ground. We could put a small group of soldiers and take over the whole place. The media is crooked, just like our elections.
It's taking a stance there, man. Goodness gracious. And I don't want to disagree with the president, but 90 million people may have a different opinion about that.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about an hour ago on X, the Iranian regime will lose the zero-sum game it is playing. Any damage it inflicts on our allies in the Gulf will be paid for with funds extracted from Iranian accounts. Any tolls paid to the Persian Gulf Strait Authority will be offset by funds extracted from their accounts. Every attack Iran launches will only deepen the economic and financial consequences it faces. And again, the post on, I say again, the actual post, it was on Truth Social from the president. The United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense, together with most of its offensive capability, are gone. Very hard tonight. At some point in the not-too-distant future, we will be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't want more when it comes to military action against Iran. But this has to come to an end.
Yeah.
And the only way, it has become abundantly clear, to borrow a phrase from the president, the only way that this comes to a full and complete end is just the total annihilation of everything. You have to completely rid them of their ability to finance their ongoing war operation, they being the IRGC. If they do not have money, they cannot continue. They can't continue to fund their proxies. Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. International terrorist organizations that are wreaking havoc all over the Middle East, specifically with Israel, but all over the Middle East, and who have made their credo, death to America, death to Americans, death to anybody that is not us. You strangle their ability to make money through oil exports. And if inevitably it has to be finished, then finish it now. What is it? You'll hear business people say regularly, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have this phrase exactly right. Don't put off the inevitable. What is inevitable must become immediate. It kind of feels like that's where we are with Iran. You cannot trust them. You have heard politicians say that over and over and over again. I'm talking about pragmatic politicians, not people that are just looking for sound bites. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust anything they sign. You cannot trust anything they say. They cannot be trusted. And so trying to make a deal with someone you trust is a fool's errand. I would imagine that there are political ramifications. But you know what? Political ramifications tend to come and go. Fix it. End it. And get our men and women home. At least as many of them as you can. What a bad situation. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Mike Azlin joins us next. Little correspondent from Omaha. We'll wrap it up with that.
From the Venable.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Welcome to the show.
Back one last time with you on this Thursday morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. You heard Congressman Michael Guest talking about the congressional baseball game last night. Eric Schmidt, who played college baseball at Truman State, was the star. Diving catch in left field last night that turned out to be huge. We're going to be looking at some different kind of stars this weekend as the College World Series in Omaha begins tomorrow night. And we are happy to be joined from Charles Schwab Field in Omaha by our buddy Mike Azlin. He was and is a longtime listener to Sports Talk Mississippi and a sometimes listener to Mornings with Richard Cross. Mike, I've known him for a long time. Appreciate you joining us just for a couple of minutes this morning. How's it going in Omaha?
Thanks for having me, Richard. I just got here about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. I spent the night in St. Joe's and pulled in and come in and going to watch the practice sessions today. Ole Miss is up at 12:10.
So, for the first time since the 70s, Ole Miss got to the College World Series in 2014. And for a lot of people, it was like, okay, finally. And then in 2022, Ole Miss gets back. They win it all. I'm curious if it felt different to you pulling in into Omaha, walking into Charles Schwab Field with Ole Miss having won a national championship 4 years ago than maybe it did the last time you were there.
Last time it was special to get here. This time I expected to win it last time, but this time I think we've got to be one of the favorites to win it, us in Texas.
Yeah. Ole Miss on the left side of the bracket. They will play North Carolina on Friday night, first pitch at 6 o'clock Central Time. What's the vibe in Omaha? That's a city that supports the College World Series so incredibly well. What does it feel like?
I just haven't been out enough right now. Just getting into town this morning. I'm going out with some of the parents a little later today. We're going to meet for practice and going out, and I'll be able to gauge it more here, 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Mike, you've been following Ole Miss athletics and Ole Miss baseball specifically for a long time, but just in the last couple of weeks, I think going back maybe to the Lincoln Regional when you got a lot of television time behind home plate, you have become a bit of a cult hero among Ole Miss fans and labeled as a super fan. What has that been like? You signing a bunch of autographs these days?
I took some pictures and signed some autographs outside of the gate in Auburn, believe it or not. It kind of took a life of its own. I guess being behind the plate, and it went viral, being tweeted, and then a lot of my students retweeted it, and I had 800,000 Twitter impressions in that week between Lincoln and Auburn.
There you go. You have become a star. Where are you sitting for Ole Miss's game against North Carolina tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I'm sitting just behind the right-handed batter's box on the first row, actually the second row, and then game 6, right behind the plates, right directly behind the umpire on front row.
How about that? That's pretty high dollar real estate there. This is a passion for you. I know it has been for a long time. Anything stand out about your trip? I know you made the drive from Oxford to Omaha with maybe a couple of stops along the way. Anything that jumped out at you?
Pretty smooth trip. Stopped and got some throwed rolls in Ozark at Lambert's, and been to the Sykeston location before, but I decided to go the back road this time up through Springfield, and pretty smooth trip.
How long does it take to make the drive? If you go North Mississippi all the way to Omaha in one fell swoop, how long is the drive?
About 11 hours of drive time.
Gotcha. Any indication as to what kind of crowd Ole Miss will have for their opening game tomorrow night?
I just don't know if we're going to have the same crowd we had in 2022. The newness of it, I guess, in 2022 really drove our crowd. I think we're going to have a heck of a crowd here, but I just don't know that we'll have the same numbers we had last time.
Well, and even last time around, the numbers swelled dramatically as Ole Miss got to that second weekend in the championship series.
Absolutely. We play next weekend. I think we'll have pretty close to the same numbers.
All right, Mike, all baseball fans are superstitious. Do you have a superstition that you lock in on and absolutely will not deviate from?
I wear the same hat, the team hats. I don't always wear the same color shirt, but I always wear the same hat the team wears on the field that day.
All right, so what's the outfit for tomorrow night if people are looking for you in the second row behind home plate?
I haven't talked to the coach yet. Coach usually texts me the day before and tells me what they're wearing. And as soon as I find that out, I'll tweet it out and let them know what uniforms we're wearing, what hats we're wearing.
Okay. Are you thinking powder blue for you for the jersey tomorrow night?
No, hell no.
Okay.
I'll be wearing red because North Carolina's wearing blue.
Okay. So staying away from the powder blue because of the opponent, going to be red tomorrow night. Mike,
right.
Hope you have a blast in Omaha. Appreciate you checking in, and thanks for being such a loyal listener.
Thanks, Richard.
Mike Azlin, he is an Ole Miss math instructor, a diehard Ole Miss baseball fan, and joined us from Omaha. Thanks for being with us. Hope your Thursday is spectacular. For Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.